Okay, good morning, everyone. This is our second week of Path to Education, Training and Employment. Before I start our today's session, I'm going just to quickly review what we have learned last week. Basically, we started with understanding the education system here in the UK so that you can see for yourself where you are on this roadmap. And that is important because if you don't know where you are, it's very difficult to plan for the next step. So we divided the education system here in the UK into school or high school, college, and university, starting from level 1 and level 2, similar to the functional skills level 1 and level 2 that some of you are doing at the moment in college. And we have said that if you have finished your high school back in your countries, then that high school diploma that you have, that certification, that qualification that you have, it can have different names in different countries, but if you have finished 11 or 12 years of primary and secondary school in your country, then you are here at GCSE level. It could be based on your grades. It could be level 1 or level 2. If you have high grades, you have GCSE level 2. If you have lower grades, you have GCSE level 1. Here in the UK, when students finish their GCSEs, they start A level. So they go to college and then starting a level 3 course, mainly A level. So for some of you, again, back in your countries, you went to college and you have a level 3 degree, which is required if you want to go to university, because university here in the UK starts from level 4. So if you want to start a level 4, you should have a level 3. If you want to start a level 3, you should have a level 2. So that's important to know where you are so that you can apply for the next level. And then when you go to university, you start level 4, and then when you graduate with your undergraduate degree, it's level 6, which means you can start a level 7, a master's degree. If you have a bachelor, an undergraduate degree from your country, in many cases, you can directly start a master's degree here in the UK. So you don't need to do another undergraduate. You can start a postgraduate just right away. Also, we have talked about, okay, for some of you, you didn't have time to finish your high school back in your countries for whatever reason. And then if you decide to go to university or if you decide to go to college, first of all, you need to finish your high school here. And for that, you have a couple of options. The first one is to go to college and do your GCSE. But we said that sometimes it could be time taking. It's a long process, usually takes 2 years. But there is a rather easier option. It's not easy. It's easy compared to GCSE because it takes less time. So you can go to college and take functional skills courses, level 2 English, level 2 math, level 2 IT as well. And then you can use those level 2 courses to start a level 3 in college. If you have level 2, if you have high school diploma from your country, and then you want to apply for university, before that, you need a level 3 degree, which means you can do A levels, so you can go to college starting A levels. But again, A levels could be time taking, usually it takes 2 years of time, and there are other options which you may find less time taking and more convenient to pass. And the main one is access to higher education course or access to HE course, which means you can go to a college and based on what you would like to study in university, you can take an access to HE course, which takes 1 year. And after that, with that access course, you can start applying for university. And that access course depends, which access course you need to take depends on what you would like to study in university. If you want to study nursing or anything about healthcare, so you need to start access course to nursing or access course to healthcare. But if you plan to start engineering, probably you need to choose another access course to engineering or to science or to physics. So there are different access courses based on what you would like to study in university. And there is, for level 3, there is a third option, which is foundational year. And if you remember from last week, and if you couldn't come to the last week's session, you can go back to the video for that week and watch the video. So we talked about the foundation year or foundational year, which is, so here in the UK, undergraduate, this is 3 years. So for you to graduate with an undergraduate degree, you need to study for 3 years in a university. But there are many programs, there are many universities that they offer foundational year as well, which means you study for 4 years instead of 3 years. So year 1 or year 0 is the foundational year, similar to level 3. And during that time, you are going to learn about like improving your English, learning some basic subjects about what you would like to study. And then from next year, you start your year 1. And instead of 3 years, it will take you 4 years. So you need to think about, okay, is it better for me to go to college, do an access course, and then apply for university? Or sometimes it could be better if you directly apply to university for a foundation year or foundational year. Or you can do both. You can apply for both and see which one comes first or which one you can get an offer for. And then you do your undergraduate, and then you can continue with your postgraduate as well. So that was the main points that we covered last week. We also talked about English language as well. So you need to prove that your English is good enough to start a college course or start a university course. So there are different tests, there are different exams that you can take to show your proficiency in English. For college and for undergraduate, you can do level 2 ESOL. So if you have level 2 ESOL, then you can start level 3 courses in college. You can start access courses. Some universities or many universities, they accept level 2 for undergraduate as well. So that's one option. The other option is to have IELTS and to sit for IELTS exam, and then you prove your level of English with IELTS. And for undergraduate, usually you need to be something around 6.5, and for postgraduate, you need to be around 6.5, or sometimes some universities they ask for 7. But you don't. It's not just about one option. You have some other options as well. So anything similar to level 2 can help you to go to college and go to and apply for some university courses. Also, you probably remember that if you would like to go to university next year, in September 2025, you need to submit your application before the deadline, which is end of January 2025, which means in about, it's October 7. Oh, November 7, sorry, November. And then we have December and we have January. So you have 2 months and 2 weeks to apply or to submit your application if you plan to go to university 2025 in September. However, if you cannot apply by that time, there will be opportunities for late submission, but you have fewer options. So until end of January, all the programs are open, but universities start closing their programs from end of January, And then if you decide to submit a late application in February or March, then you have limited options. So if you really want to, or if your plan is to go to university in September 2025, I would suggest submit your application before the deadline. And that's somehow an easy process. So you don't need to have many documents. It's just like an online application form that you need to fill. You need to have your personal statement ready, and that's it, which we are going to talk about later today. You don't need to have your qualifications, your level 2s, your A levels, your language by end of January. You can just submit your application, but then you have some other 2, 3, 4 months to work on collecting your qualifications and passing the language test and so on and so forth. Yes, that's UCAS, which we are going to talk about later. So have that in mind. If you're studying at the moment and like you're studying level 2, studying language, preparing for IELTS, but you cannot have your qualification, your exam results by end of January, that's fine. Submit your application, and then you will have time to provide your documents. One thing that you need to have in mind, submitting your application, is you need to pay £30, £28, I think, but around £30 for your application, for UCAS fee, basically. So just make sure if you pay that money, make sure that you can provide your qualifications and provide your language results as well. It's just not wasting your money on something that you cannot achieve later. I've added a link here that you can find more information about different deadlines for UCAS and for application to university in 2025, but have this date in mind. January 29th is deadline for many courses, so it's better to submit your application before that. And these are the different steps that you need to take to submit your application. You can start from today, or if you haven't already started. So the first part is to sign up to UCAS and activate your UCAS account, which is quite easy. It's similar to signing up on Gmail or signing up on Facebook or Instagram. It's just about your name, your email, your password, and then you can start your UCAS account. And you can then add your personal information as well. The second stage is to find out about your financial status. So basically, the point is, are you a home student or are you an international student? So just to make it easy to understand, if you have refugee status, okay, if you have refugee status, right to remain here in the UK, if you have indefinite leave to remain, or if you have British citizenship, then you are a home student. If you don't have that, if you are still waiting for your asylum claim, called as asylum seeker, then universities, they see you as international student. So you can apply. There is no problem with being an asylum seeker and applying to university. You have right to study. And universities, they accept your application and they process your application. But when it comes to fees, for home student, for people with refugee status, the fees are home fees, which is more or far less expensive than international fees. And then they can apply for a student finance. So they can apply for a student finance instead of paying money themselves. Whereas for asylum seekers, they cannot apply for student finance and their fees are much more expensive, which makes it difficult for many people to go to university when they are asylum seeker. However, there are some options if you're still asylum seeker. There are some universities who offer scholarship and financial support to asylum seeker students as well. So have that in mind. We will talk about that later in detail. And then the third main thing that you need to do is to decide which courses and universities you would like to apply to. So you have up to 5 options. You can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but not more than that. And you can decide which courses in which universities. You can take courses in one university, all in one, all in 2, or 5 courses in 5 different universities. But it takes some time for you to understand and decide which courses are the courses that you would like to study. The third thing that you need to have is your personal statement, which is like a short piece of writing, mainly about why do you want to study that course and what makes you a good student, a suitable student for that course, which again, we are going to learn more about how to write a personal statement later today. I am at the end, when it comes to financial support, I'm going to give you some more information about scholarship opportunities for asylum seeker and refugee students. And we are going to talk about, you always need to have a plan B as well, because especially if you are asylum seeker, you may not have the chance to go to university this year. It's always good to have a plan B. So if you get access to university this year or 2025, excellent. But if not, what are you going to do not to waste your time basically and to make your chances or make it more convenient and possible for yourself to go to university or college the following year. So we are going to learn more about having a plan B. Okay, so for the first part, I'm going to take you to the, so if you click on the first link, it will take you to this page. Okay, and this is the UCAS page. I'm going to wait a few seconds for it to appear on your screens as well. So this page gives you all the information that you need to activate your UCAS Hub or your UCAS account. Okay, so it's about why sign up, how to get started, and so on and so forth. So when you read, after reading the page, by clicking on Get Started, you can start creating your UCAS account. If this is your first time, if you don't have any previous UCAS account, you need to go to register, enter your email, first name, last name, choose a password, and register. And then you can sign in. Very easy, very similar to, I'm sure that all of you have done email accounts, Facebook accounts, Instagram accounts in the past. So when you click register, they send you an email. And then in that email, you have link to start signing in. And then it brings you to this page, which you can enter your username, which is your email, and your password, and then just sign in. Okay, so when you sign in, this is the first page that you can see. Okay, it says your application. If you have an application, you see that application. Also, you will see some more useful information about application to university, searching for or speaking with other students, and other opportunities that you may have. It's a very good website. There are plenty of useful information there. As you can see here, this one, how to make your personal statement. plenty of videos, practical advice on how to develop or write your personal statement. You will see different events in different cities, different universities. If you are interested to go, for instance, University of Leicester, they have an open day on the day after tomorrow. So if you're in Leicester and if you are interested to see how the University of Leicester look like, or if you are interested to have more information, you can just register for that open day. You can go there, you can visit the university, you can have some taster sessions. That similarly in other universities like Lincoln, the Scotland Rural College, Glasgow Caledonian University, and so on. Or you can check for like Bristol to see if University of Bristol, they have, yes. So the University of Bristol, University of West of England, UWE, which is in Bristol, they have an open day 16th of November next week, and some other open days later. University of Bristol, they have their own events as well. So if you are interested, you can go any other city. And these are very good opportunities to go to university, spend a day with other students, with lecturers and so on, and have more information and have that experience of university for yourself. And many other good sources of advice and information. But basically, we are talking about the application process. So if you don't have an application, you can start here. So you can start your application here. And then based on your application, you go for undergraduate, or if you are planning to study music, that's your option. But most of you, this is your option, undergraduate. So here you can decide which year you want to apply. So if you're applying for next year, 2025, choose 2025. But from now, you can start your application for 2026, 7 or 8 as well. So we assume that we are going to apply for 2025. And because I already have an application in place, so it takes me to my application. But here you can choose whether you want to study postgraduate or you want to study undergraduate. We will talk about postgraduate later, but basically we are started on so you want to go to university, studying undergraduate in 2025. And then you just click on undergraduate and you start building your application. And this is what you will see. Okay, so there are different parts, which is quite easy. The first part is your personal information. So you choose your title, your name, your last name. You only need to answer questions with red star or asterisk. Okay, so your title, name, surname, date of birth, your gender, and then when you finish this, you just click make this section as complete. So as you've seen, just basic information about you, and then you check that. From here, from the left bar, you can just move to the next to nationality details. There are a few important questions here. So from the country, if you need to choose the country of birth, okay, so we assume Afghanistan, for instance, and the date of the first entry to the UK. So when did you come to the UK? You can find that date on your BRP. So if you're an asylum seeker, you have that date that you arrived on your BRP or on your screening interview. Or you already know which date you came. So, but basically, you can find it on your screening interview when you apply for asylum, or you can find that on your BRP, asylum claimant card. Then what is your nationality? You need to answer it because it has a red star here. Do you have settled or pre-settled status in the UK? So this is mainly for European students. So for if you are asylum seeker or refugee, the answer would be no for you. Will you need a student visa to study in the UK? For everyone with refugee status, it's no. If you are asylum seeker again, it's no, okay? Because you are already here. You are not out of the UK. So the answer for this, you don't, because you're an asylum, if you're a refugee, you don't need visa. If you're asylum seeker, again, you don't need visa. So the answer would be no. You need to answer, why don't you need a student visa to study in the UK? So you have a list. If you are a refugee, you choose on a refugee, which means you don't need a student visa. There are other options, but if you are asylum seeker, still waiting for your case to be processed, you choose other. And then in the box, you just put asylum seeker. Have you previously studied on a student or Tier 4 visa in the UK? If you came to the UK as a student, or if you studied in UK universities with a student visa, you need to say yes. Okay? Don't say no, because they can see in their database. So there are some students who came to the UK on a student visa, who started their studies, or who couldn't start their study and then they applied for asylum. You should, if that's your case, you should say yes. But if you came to the UK and then applied for asylum, it's no, because you didn't come on the Tier 4 visa, student visa. And then what is your current UK visa or immigration status? If you open it, there are many options. So there is one for asylum seekers here. So if you have refugee status, go for refugee. If you're asylum seeker with evidence of a pending application, then go for asylum seeker. Pending application means you have your application in process. And the evidence that you can give is your ID card, the BRP card, or any letter from Home Office. But they don't ask for any evidence at this moment. Start date of your visa or your current immigration status. It doesn't have any red star. So if you don't know the start or finish date, just leave it empty. But if you have refugee status, just look at your BRP card. There is a start date and end date, which means, because usually you have a 5 years visa. So start and end date, you can add it. If you don't know, just leave it blank. Click the completion box, save this section, and then you can go to the next stage. So the next one is about your address. So here you need to give your addresses since September 2022. Okay, in the last 2 years or so. So your current address, the address that you live at the moment, and your previous addresses, and that could be UK address or non-UK address. That's not an issue. The point is you need to cover all your addresses since September 2022. So I already have 2 addresses here. Well, it's not my current address, but it's just like a random address saying that I live here. And then my previous address, because we said that this student is from Afghanistan, so it could be anything from Afghanistan, any address from Afghanistan. If you want to add more, just click here, add new current address. So you can add your address here. That's quite an easy process. Don't be too worried about that. Your current address or any previous address here or back in your country. When you finish, just click save and go to the next. So when you finish each stage, as you see here on the left side, when it becomes green, it means it's done. If it's not green, means there are still some questions there that you need to answer. Then the next part is your mobile number and email address. Mobile is not necessary, but email is necessary. So you can add your email address so that they can send you email. Nominated access, do you want anyone else to have access to this? Some students here in the UK, they have advisors, but for you, it's no. So no, click, save. You can give your postal address as well, or you can decide not to give your postal address, and then you go to the next section. The next one is about supporting information. Oh, yeah. So it's about supporting information. Have you ever lived or worked in EU, excluding UK? If you worked in EU, if you lived in Germany, in Italy, and you worked there, you can say yes. But I think for most of you, for all of you almost, it's no, because you didn't work in anywhere else in the EU. If you have parent, step-parent, spouse, or civil partner who is an EU national, you should say yes. So if you have your husband or your wife, they are citizens of Italy, or your parents are citizens of Germany, you should say yes. But again, I think from all of you, it's no. Complete, save, go to the next part, which is about funding. This is important, this question, because sometimes it's confusing. So here, you should say how do you want to pay the money for university? So when you open the list of options, you see different options here. If you have refugee status, then the answer would be here, UK, the Student Finance Services. Because as we said, as a refugee with right to remain here in the UK, you have access to apply for student finance. So this is what you choose. If you are asylum seeker, you if you remember, we said there are scholarships, but we don't have any option here about a scholarship. You choose other sources, which means scholarships as well. So for asylum seekers, other, for refugees, student finance. Then you click this, you save, and you go next. Here, again, an important part, which is about your previous education. So you need to add your previous education here. It could be your high school, your college, or if you have any kind of previous degrees that you have from here, from UK, or from your country of origin or country of birth. I already added some information about this student that we are filling the form for. So the university in Afghanistan or the high school in Afghanistan as well. If this is your first time, you need to add your place of education here. So just by clicking on add place of education, you have this box. So for instance, you studied in Sudan. So sometimes you can find the place that you studied in the list, Unity High School Sudan. If it's not there, that's not an issue. Just enter the name. So you studied in Star Student School. Okay. just add it. Whatever your name of the name of high school or university, just type it and add that to your education. Okay, you can give the address. So it was in, I'm not sure, Khartoum in Sudan. So that's all you need. Only go for those with red star. And then the next one is about when did you study there? So you can say from September 2015 to September 2019, whatever the date was, okay? Whether it was full-time, part-time, and exam. So most cases you studied full-time in high school, and was it online or in person? In most cases, it's in person. So you add that, save, and then it is now added to your history. Okay. Here, Star Students High School in Khartoum, Sudan, 2015 to 2019. Now you need to add your qualification. So what is the qualification that you achieve from that high school? So here you can choose what was your qualification. So it says, choose the type of qualification you would like to add. You can search for a specific qualification between each group. So did you achieve A-level, GCSE, or an equivalent, or others? If you remember, we said if you finish your high school in your country, that's GCSE or equivalent. So you can choose GCSE or equivalent. And that's it. So now, if you go back, it hasn't added yet. So GCSE and equivalent. GCSE. So in Sudan, it may have different names. You need just to find out what is the name of that degree in Sudan. So you have other options. UK qualification, if you have any GCSE A-level, level 2 from UK, you can add it using UK qualification. If you have access course from here, you can choose access course and add it to your record. Apprenticeship, international and EU, Scottish qualification, and so on. And under each of them, as you can see, there are other qualifications. So, but like I said, for most of you, it's GCSE and equivalent. So it says if you are in Sudan, you should have a Sudan school certificate, or SCC. So you can choose this. You can add your the date that you got your qualification, September 2029, for example. And what was the module that, or the percentage that you had? You can say, I passed. And then what did you study? You can say, well, you should have, most of the time you have the list of your subjects and the list of your grades as well. So you can say, for instance, I studied chemistry. You can add, I studied English. You can add, I studied, I'm not sure, math. So whatever you studied in high school, you can add them to the list, and make sure you add them for sure, because if you add them, it increases your chance of having your offer to university. So you save it. Well, you need to add dates as well. 2020, 2019, 2019, 2019. So when you save them, being all good, you can, if you have your grades, you can say 18 from 20. In some countries, it's percentage. You can say 78%. So it depends on what is said on your qualification. And now it's saved. And then if you go to your list of education, you can see that here. So in Sudan, you studied chemistry, English, math. These are your grades, and these are the qualification dates. So add as many as you have. So you may have high school from Sudan, then you came to the UK, studied level 1 English, then you studied level 2, I'm not sure, healthcare. Any qualification from anywhere you have, just add by pressing on this. The next one is about education. Oh, before that, at the end, there is a space if you have any English language test passed in the past. So for some of you, you have like a TOEFL or IELTS, but if you don't have it, it's not necessary. As you can see, it doesn't have a red star there. If you have IELTS exam results, there is a reference number that you need to add here. But if you don't have it, just leave it empty. And then the next stage is about your employment. That is not necessary. Many people, they apply to universities without having any previous employment. But if you have it, it's good to add. So you can just go to here to add employment. The place that you worked, for instance, we say health hospital. What was your role? You were a manager, a nurse, a healthcare worker, or any other role that you had. The address, it could be UK address or non-UK address. It could be number 1, Kabul, Afghanistan. And then the date. You worked there from 2013 to 2017, whichever date. Was it part-time or full-time? You choose, and then you save it, and it's added to your employment history. So you finished your education employment. The next stage is your personal statement. So as you can see, it's not a long piece of work. So it's short, it's only 4,000 characters, which means about 500, 400 words, which we are going to talk about that later. But at this stage, you need to have your personal statement ready, and you just copy and paste it here. So whatever you've written, you just copy and paste it here. Then you save. And then you can go to the next stage, the last one, which is reference. So here, you need to have someone who can give you a reference letter. You don't need to have the reference letter itself, but you need to have the contact details for that person. That person should be, or better to be, someone who worked with you as a teacher. So that person could be your high school teacher, your college teacher, back home or here in the UK. If you don't have anyone, that person could be me or anyone else who worked with you on Olive. So most of the Olive teachers, they can and they are happy to give you reference. The only thing that you need to have, you need to add the name, their job title or relation. So here you can say Amir, my name and surname, the relationship teacher, the organization Olive, and then giving my address and phone number and email address. If anyone needs me to be reference, you can write to me, you can email me, and I send you all the information that you need to put here. And then after that, that's it. That's the end of it. So your application is done now. The only thing is once you finish, you need to pay to register your app or to submit your application. And that's about, I think, £28, but less than £30 for application. And that's your personal profile. Done. So when you go back, so the personal profile, the nationality details, where you live, contact details, supporting information, finance and finding, education, employment, personal statement, and references, all done during that application process during filling up those forms. The second stage is choosing the options that you want to study. Here, you can add choices. So which university you would like to study in and what course you would like to study. So just by adding a choice, so here, for instance, you know that you want to study University of Bristol. Okay, so in Bristol, you have three options: University of Bristol, City of Bristol College, and Bristol University of West of England. So University of Bristol, what is the course that you would like to study? Let's say healthcare or mechanical engineering. So you want to study mechanical engineering in main campus, which is in Bristol, and you would like to study September 2025. Like I said, you have options to start your application for 2026 from now, and then that's it. And then you need to decide, do you want to start from year one? But if you remember, for many of you, it's better to start from foundation year, because during that foundation year, it will prepare you to start university. Also, that's a level 3. So if there is a gap, it fills that gap. So you have more chances of being accepted for a course with foundation year than for a course without foundation year. So you can decide year 1 or foundation, but I would suggest foundation. Live at home while studying. If you live in Bristol, you can say yes. If you live somewhere else and you commute to Bristol to study there, you can say no, but we assume that you live in Bristol. So you can see now that is added to your options: mechanical engineering, University of Bristol. You can do the same and add 4 more options. It's not compulsory, but the more you choose, the more chances you have to have a university offer. And that's it. So it's about your choices, your profile, your personal statement, your reference, and then once you finish everything here, everything is green, then it becomes 100% here instead of 45%, and then you can review and submit by paying the fee. And that's the whole process that you need to do for UCAS. So I stop here. Do you have any question for me? Well, I understand it's quite a lot to take in, but you will have access to this video. Once you are doing your application yourself, you can always come back to the video and see what you need to do at each stage. But if you have any specific question for me now, please feel free to ask your question. Okay, so let's see how can we pay the fee. So that fee could be it's when you click on, let's it's an online payment basically. When you click on here, when you click on this one, when you finish your application and click on this, it will take you to the payment page. So you need to have a bank account, a bank card, and then that's an online transaction. It could be from your own card or anyone else who would like, who is happy for you to use their card to make the payment. But that's a card payment. Well, for funding, yes, it's competitive. If you are entitled to student finance, there is no competition. Everyone who applies, if you meet the criteria, then you can have the student finance. But when you apply for a scholarship, there is always competition. It depends. In some universities, it's quite competitive, but in some universities, less competitive. So, and we've had many students because those scholarships are just for asylum seeker students. And we had, I personally, I've had many students, probably I can think of 10, 15 students in the last couple of years who could get a scholarship. So it's not that difficult if you're prepared for the application process. Any other question? Okay, excellent. So let's continue with so we talked about your activating your UCAS account. We talked about your financial status. Again, if you click on this, it will take you to a page where you can find more information about refugee and asylum seeker status when it comes to paying the fees. And there is a very helpful video that you can watch. But basically, that's the main point. With refugee status, you can have student finance. Asylum seekers, no access to a student finance, unfortunately, but you have scholarships. You need to choose 5 courses or universities. So here, you can, if you click on that, it takes you to UCAS search page. And here you have all the information that you need to have about universities and courses. So if you want to study accounting and finance, which universities they offer accounting and finance courses. So take some time to go through that page and find out more about courses and university entry requirements. You need to write your personal statement. And if you are looking for a scholarship, then you need to start thinking about how to apply for a scholarship. Again, the steps that we just talked about. One thing that is important, if you are planning to apply for a scholarship, okay, if you are planning to apply for a scholarship, you need to choose these 5 universities here from the universities who give a scholarship to asylum seekers. So if you go to equal access link here, you will have access to all universities, a list of universities providing a scholarship. Here is the list. So it's important to choose those 5 universities from this list, because then, for instance, University of Aberdeen, they don't have a scholarship for asylum seekers. So if you choose University of Aberdeen and they offer you a place, then you cannot pay the fee because there is no scholarship, which means you are wasting one of your 5 options. So make sure that you choose those 5 universities from this list. And we have probably 50, 60 universities in this list. So make sure that your options are chosen from universities who give scholarship to refugees. Let's see. Thanks, Feroz. Which opportunities are you interested in finding out? Apprentice, conservatory, gap year? Could you explain about their differences and which one is good for us? Well, basically, it depends on what you are looking for. So you are not looking for an apprenticeship. You are not looking for a conservatory study. That's for music. You are not looking for gap year. So I don't think that any of these are suitable for you if you are looking to go to university. So if you're planning to, we will talk about apprenticeship next week when we talk about job-related trainings. Okay, so These are the steps: personal details, choices, previous education, previous employment, statement and reference. Again, if you are applying for a scholarship, it's important to choose universities from that list. There is another web page that I added here, displays students' opportunities. If you click on that, it takes you to this very helpful web page. And here you can find most of the information that you need about opportunities for refugee and asylum seeker students in terms of university scholarships, language courses, small grants available, preparation for university, and so on. So make sure that you use the information provided here to find out more about opportunities, studying opportunities, short courses, university courses, fundings, grants, and so on. So there are fairly good number of opportunities available on the website. Going back to our presentation, well, a very common question that students, most of the time they ask me is about what should I study? So for some of you already know what you would like to study based on your previous education, previous employment. But for some of you, especially the younger ones, they don't know, they are not decided what to study. So the first of all, just think about what you are good at. So it's about your skills, your strengths, your talents. But first of all, what you are good at and what do you like to study. Then think about the entry requirements. So because for different universities, different subjects, they have different entry requirements, and see if you can meet the entry requirements or not, or how long would it take for you to meet those requirements. The third one is about your age and other commitments. So if you're 22, 23 and you're single without family commitments, without children, you have more time and more flexibility. Whereas if you are a mother or a father in your 30s and you have 2 other children that you need to take care of, you are less flexible. And then you need to think about courses which give you more flexibility. Think about financial requirement, especially the difference between asylum seekers and refugees. If you're a refugee, you have more options. If you are still waiting for an asylum claim, your options are just within those universities who give a scholarship. And same about your immigration status. Think about your mobility and how it's possible for you to move to a different city. So if you're in London and if you apply for University in Birmingham, can you move to Birmingham and live there for 3 years or for 1 year or 2 years? Some people can. If you cannot, it's better to apply to universities around where you live so that you can commute. Think about future opportunities in terms of job opportunities. So how likely it is for you to study and find a job. I would say go for more practical degrees, practical subjects and topics, which increases your chance of nursing, teaching, mechanical skills, engineering skills, computer skills. These are the kind of jobs that we always need. Think about the length of the course, how many years it will take you to finish it. And at the end, think about, it's very good to go to university and have a degree, but you need to think realistically in terms of, okay, it's about spending 3-4 years and what after that. And there could be other options or better options for you depending on your age and financial and family situation, which we will talk about later next week when we talk about other options in terms of vocational training, job-related training and qualification, which takes you shorter and you can start working much quicker. So that's what you need to have in mind when choosing those 5 options. Another common example is if you speak English as your second language, so for some topics, for some subjects, for some degrees, if you need higher level of language to be successful. So imagine you want to become a solicitor or a lawyer. What they do is just speaking or writing in the court, okay? So which means you need to have higher levels of professional specific legal language, both in writing and in reading and in speaking, compared to if you're a computer engineer or a nurse. Well, most of the time you work practically. You don't need to write like long piece of work, or you don't need to give a speech in a court case. So that requires relatively less level of proficiency. Just have those considerations in mind when deciding what to study. When you write personal, then we move to personal statement. So basically, it's your personal statement. So it should be personal. Just write about yourself, make it personal, about your health conditions, about your conditions, about your financial hardship that you had, and so on. Makes it relevant to what you would like to study in terms of what kind of skills or experience you have that makes you a good student for that particular course or particular program. And work on your statement, basically. You still have time. If you start from now, you have 2-3 months to prepare that statement. These are the main questions that you need to answer when you write a statement. So why have you chosen this course and this subject? And what previous study and experience you have? So you can say, I study science or chemistry in high school. That's why I'm more interested in studying science or chemistry in university. Any work experience that you may have, any life experience, and what is your plan after that? So if you just think about these 8 questions, the first step is just to take a piece of paper and a pen and just write a couple of lines for each of them. Just answer those questions for yourself. It could be in English or even in your first language, and then start building your statement from there. And then your final statement is about 500 words. Like I said, it's not a long piece of work. So if just you think about this one as an A4 page, well, I'm trying to show this, you just need to write 1 page, not more than that, which is 2 or 3 paragraphs, long paragraphs, or 4 short paragraphs. So you start with introduction, why you want to study this course. Then in the first paragraph, you explain your background in terms of education. What did you study before in university, in high school, in college? In the second paragraph, you write about your interest in that subject. Why do you like computer science? Why do you like computer? Why do you like nursing? Why do you like geography? Any work experience that you had in the past, it could be paid work, it could be volunteer work, it could be social work or whatever. Then about you as a person, the kind of hobbies that you have. And then the last one is about conclusion, what you would like to achieve by doing that, your plan for future, and so on. So just a simple piece of work. What you can do, again, I'm happy when you have your statement ready, just send it to me and I'm going to read it and share it and then give my feedback and help you to make it better. But you need to start writing that yourself first and then asking for help to make it better. There are many online sources available to support. So I added these UCAS personal statement tool, a UCAS advice for refugees and asylum seekers when it comes to writing your statement. This one is a very good one. Writing your personal statement for refugees and asylum seekers with limited leave to remain. So if you go through their page, there are plenty of practical advice here that you can use, as you can see. So make sure that you go to this page and you find out more information about how to write your personal statement. And there is a worksheet as well, which gives you a structure and guidance on how to, and these are the questions that I showed you earlier. So just think about each of these questions and write a few lines about each of them. And then when you put them together, it becomes a personal statement. Again, you can write your personal statement and send it to me for feedback. I'm happy to help you improve your personal statement. So start working on that if you're planning to go to university. Any question? All right. So I wanted to give you some. Well, let's see if we have one question coming up. No problem, Shika. Well, if you have your undergraduate and if you would like to, so you have a bachelor degree from your country or from here, UK, and if you would like to apply for university, you can apply for master courses. And it's the application process is different for postgraduate courses. So for undergraduate, all applications should be done through UCAS. So you cannot write or apply directly to universities. Whereas for postgraduate, most universities, you can do it on UCAS, but only few universities take postgraduate students from UCAS. Most universities, they have their own application process. So you need to directly apply to that particular university. So if you want to apply to 5 universities for master degree, you need to submit 5 applications to 5 different universities. The application process most of the time is online, and you need to have your undergraduate degree, your work experience, your language requirements ready to apply. For most universities, they accept IELTS 6 or 6.5, sometimes 7, depends on university. But you need to have this information ready to apply. So the application process is online. It's an online application. You need to upload your personal statement. You need to have a reference letter. You need to have your paperwork qualification. And usually, you have more time to apply for postgraduate. It's usually 6 weeks before the start of the course. So if you think of September 2025 as the start of the course that you would like to study next year, then you have time until January, February, March, April, May, June. I would say you need to submit before the end of June. Sometimes universities, they accept in July, but the sooner you apply, the higher your chance of having your offer. If anyone is interested in a specific, I assume most of you are going for undergraduate, but if anyone is interested in postgraduate course application, I'm happy to support them specifically. So you need just to email me, and then I can support you with your application process. You need to have a personal statement as part of your postgraduate, but postgraduate statement is different from undergraduate. So you need to add a different type of information and content to that. Again, it's 500 words approximately, one side of A4, and these are the information that you need to put on your application. So make sure that you follow the advice, and these are the information. So here, like for postgraduate, you don't write about your hobbies, okay? You mainly need to write about why you are interested in studying that particular program in that university, and what is your plan for future, and the skills that you have, and the undergraduate studies that you have that makes you a good candidate for this postgraduate course. I don't explain PhDs because if you are interested and if you are in that stage of applying for PhD and doctorate degrees, please let me know, send me an email, and I'm happy to give you personal advice on that. I added this again to show you your student finance or financial status. So situation is different between England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. So depending on where you are, you may have different financial situation. So if you're in England, and if you're asylum seeker, these are your situation basically. So you don't have right to work. You are considered as international, and you don't have access to student finance, but you have scholarship opportunities. If you are here with refugee status, you have access to Student finance, you can work, you are home student. Situation is different sometimes for people with humanitarian protection or people with limited discretionary leave to remain. They all have the right to work, but sometimes they are considered as home. Sometimes they are considered as international if based on their visa. And based on that, they have access or not access to student finance. In Scotland and Wales, it's different. There is a very informative video. I added the link here on YouTube with detailed explanation of financial situation and eligibilities for refugees and asylum seekers. If you have more questions, please watch the video, which you will find helpful. When it comes to scholarships, as I said, and I showed you the list, there are 50, 60 universities offering a scholarship to asylum seeker and refugee students. But to apply for those scholarships, first of all, you need to apply to university. So you need to have your UCAS application and you need to have offer from that university. Then when you, so for instance, you apply for UCAS, you apply for University of Birmingham, University of Bristol, and they give you the offer saying that, yes, we are happy for you to come and study here. At that stage, you can apply for a scholarship. Okay, so that's why it is important to apply if you are planning to go to university, to apply to submit your UCAS application before the deadline. Again, I added 2 more videos here. In detail explains the application process for a scholarship, what you need to do, but that's the main point. Apply through UCAS, have your language qualification, wait for offer, and when universities offer you study, then you can go and apply for student finance separately. So that's a separate process. Again, if you go to the list, you will see most of these opportunities are closed for 2024 because 2024 academic year has already started, but they will open them next year, about January, February, March time. And it's important for you to have your offer by that time because then you can start an application process. So go through the list, see which universities you can apply for, and then look at what they offer. So some of them, they offer undergraduate, postgraduate foundation year. Some of them they offer to asylum seekers, refugees, all of them. Some offer more support, some less support, but it's important to go through all of them. There is a website for each of them that you can find more information by going through that website and prepare yourself for that for that scholarship. So next year, if you have your offer and if you apply for a scholarship, the scholarship process is not that difficult, the application process. You need just to write a personal statement. And again, this personal statement is different from personal statement for UCAS. Here, you should explain how having this scholarship, how having this financial support from university is important for you, for your future. I'm not going through the detail of that, but next year, when you, hopefully some of you are going to apply for a scholarship, you always can come back to me because you have my email address. And that time, I'm happy to help you with this application process and writing your statement. But basically, what you need to have is here 4 questions. The first one, your family circumstances, explain it. What is your plan for future and why you would like to study, and how this money helps you to achieve your goals and your plans for future. Any question about the application for UCAS for a scholarship? What is important, everyone? It's taking time, coming back to the slides and going through all of those links and spending some time just taking all those information in and processing the information and trying to see what is the best option for you. Yes, you can, Sheikha. Only if they will send you the slides, and they will. I know that they didn't send it last week, but they are going to send it this week for week 1 and week 2, and they are going to send you the link to the video as well. At the final part of today, I'm going to give you a list of extra support available. So depending on where you live in the UK, you have there are many organizations with different type of support for asylum seeker and refugee students. Fortunately, many of them, they provide their services online, which means even if you don't live in that city, you still can have access to their services. I added a list of some of the most famous ones or most active ones here for you to have in mind. So if you're looking for employment, for education, for college course, for language course, some of these organizations that they can help you, like start, and if you click on each of those links, it will take you to their page. So starting with Breaking Barriers, they are based in London, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, and some other areas. And they have different type of support for if you're looking for employment or for education, they have different type of support. They have their page in different languages, and they have the application process online. So if there is anything, go through their web page, and if there is any specific area that you need support with and they can support you with, just fill the application form online, and they come back to you with more information. RefuAid is an organization specifically supporting refugees with language training, specifically for IELTS preparation. If you go to their page again, that you can see here, on their language, so they have different language programs here in the UK, IELTS preparation, CNE preparation, the languages schools, they have languages schools in some cities. Again, the application process is online. If you're in that process of preparing yourself for language courses to go to university, RefuAid could be a good help. And similarly, many other organizations, I'm not going through all of them one by one, but please take time to check all of those organizations. Many of them could be useful, and they can support you in moving forward to the next step, either going to college, to university, or finding a job that you're interested in. What is important is having access to the latest information and latest opportunities, everyone, because if you're not aware of what is available for you, it's very difficult to make any progress. So I added 4 links here, and I would encourage everyone to join these 4 newsletters and mailing lists. So when you join them, what will happen is every week they are going to send you an email including the latest opportunities, news, courses, language courses, university courses, scholarships, specifically for refugees and asylum seekers. So just click on the link. It takes you to the page. You need only to fill the form, your name, your last name, your email address, and then click subscribe. That's it, as easy, as simple as this. And then every week you are going to be aware of the latest opportunities, any online course, any question and answer session, any open day, university visits, short courses, language courses. And this is similar for Refugee Education UK, for Breaking Barrier, and for Refugee Employment Network. So these are the very active organization when it comes to refugee education and employment. So please, 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 it's important. Go to their web pages, add your name and email address to their mailing list, and then you don't need to do anything. Information is going to come to your email address. And then finally, if you have time, I added 4 links here. How to write your personal statement, if you're a refugee or asylum seeker, student finance for refugees or asylum seekers, and if you are a refugee and asylum seeker applying for postgraduate courses in the UK. And this one is specifically for postgraduate students. I'm going to, well, the link doesn't work. I'm going to update the link. Let's see if the link works for the first one. Yes, so for finance, and if the link works for this one as well. Yes, for personal statement. So these are useful websites that you can use if you would like to apply for university and you need help with understanding your how to write a personal statement and what is your financial situation.